other people cannot, like you can't listen to them. They all are muted. So you can share your screen and they can raise their question, their hand if they have any question, or they can type the question. You can share your screen, Harshit, and we can continue.
I hope everybody can see my screen now. Mukeshji?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Harshit. I'm a photographer and a filmmaker by profession, and been in this industry for good 12 years now. And trust me, I really enjoy what I am doing. Uh, the reason why I decided to get into photography and filmmaking was it was initially my passion, and now it has become my profession. So it has been a long journey so far for me. Lots of ups and downs in that particular field per se. So today I'm going to talk about the very important part when it comes to which goes up above what you say is your passion, then changing into profession, and then how do you change that profession into earning money? Because a lot of us have this problem that we are passionate about what we are doing, but unfortunately, we don't have those resources wherein we can earn money out of our project. A lot of us, when we start, for example, if I'm not wrong, we start with clicking our friends and then clicking our surroundings nearby. And Mukesh, I have a quick question for you. Hello, hello. Am I odd? Am I odd?
You're audible. Please continue.
Okay. So the most problem, sorry, I was trying to say is that a lot of us click nature, our friends together, but we generally don't. So it just the images keeps popping up with us, and there is no result out of it, right? And right. So first thing first, what is photography? Photography is all about art and science. It is a way to express yourself. If I'm not wrong, a lot of us end up into photography just because we want to um, portray a kind of emotion that we have for a particular thing and keep our memories intact, right? For documentation purposes also, yes, these days if I talk about the current scenario, uh, uh, there are a lot of documentation that is happening when it comes to photography, as what we are going through right now is not going to happen. We just hope that it doesn't happen again. But a lot of photographers are on streets. We are on street. We are working day in day out, trying to document as much as we can of what is happening right now, right? And most important thing in photography is earn money. Right? Anybody has any questions till now?
They will be typing the question, and if any such question comes, we will let you know. You can continue, Harshit. As of now, we don't have any question.
Okay. Okay, continuing with my what I was saying is now what careers do we have? We have careers as a photojournalist, as a fine art photographer, as a commercial or an industrial photographer, a portrait photographer. I don't like to use this term called freelance photographer anymore because I think the audience per se has started to take freelance photographer as somebody who can do work for free. So I prefer to call myself also a paid lancer as compared to a freelancer. It's a term that which is recently doing rounds in the society, and it's our in our circle per se. Then we have news photographers, right? Then we have something called scientific photographers. Scientific photographers are those who specifically use photography for scientific purposes, like for microbiology. There's a lot of photography which is done in the field of microbiology. The aerial photography or drone photography, with the introduction of new types of drones, which are lighter as compared to the earlier drones. Um, Aerial photography is one of the gaining businesses in the market, but you have to be really good with while using a drone, and you have to be very particular since India still does not permit drone photography much. But if you're using the under 250-gram drone, I think that is okay. Great. What does a feature photographer mean? A feature photographer is somebody who creates a series of photographs and try and create a story out of it, right? So a lot of photographers do a lot of exhibitions where we try and create a story. There's a story that I did, which was of chipmunks. There were two chipmunks that I had, and I created a story out of how do they work from the morning till the evening. What is their entire day schedule? I'll try and see if I can show that to you. And also, I did a story which was a feature. It was published also. It's called 8 Minutes. 8 Minutes is a story that a person who smokes takes eight minutes to burn a cigarette down. So you can pick these kinds of topics and work on those. So eight minute a smoke take 8 minutes to burn. So what other work you can do in that 8 minute is what the story talks about. And the advertising photography is something which is a very higher paying jobs person. Then fashion photography is another kind of field which is good, and the nature and the wildlife. But I missed something here. I'm sorry for it. It's called the wedding photography. The highest paying careers in photography, but it requires a lot of practice. It requires a lot of equipment per se with you. For the reason is that there are very specific equipments for doing wedding photography, and because when you do wedding photography, you are actually playing around with the emotions of. And what I'm trying to say is that you have to play around with the emotions of the people so that you get the right shot at the right time. So you have to be very particular when you do specifically wedding, because the shots are not going to wait for you. The people are not going to wait for you. The expressions are not going to wait for you. So that is very, very important, right? Coming to the next slide, there are certain things that we obviously have to keep in mind when we are getting into commercial art. Say, it's like you keep updating, because at times recently I faced this, that I was pitching for a client, and the client asked for my equipment list. And then I did not have a certain equipment which was needed for that particular shoot, and I lost that shoot. It is a personal experience that I'm telling you. So at times, you have to keep in mind that if you don't have a equipment, you can obviously rent it out, but try to keep the necessary equipment, which is very, very important. For example, you're doing weddings, right? So 85 lenses are important. 50 lenses are important. Wide angle lenses are important. You can't work in a wedding using kit lenses which are supplied with the cameras, right? Now, you have to also keep in mind these days in the field of photography. If I talk about advertising is everything. So it is a two-way business. You advertise for the client will advertise for you. Because keep one thing in mind when you're doing photography, photography is all about word of mouth business, right? If a client recommends you to somebody, that's how you get the client. Till date, my photography friends have been using a lot of social media. But by God's grace, I don't use that much of social media, because most of my clients are repetitive clients, and they come back to me just because of my work, first thing first. And if they recommend me to somebody, it is always through word of mouth. And that is very important, because that is your real audience. how do you plan your photographs? You have to be very particular when you're planning your pictures because, again, your shutter has a life, right? When your shutter has a life, you have to keep in mind that you should not stack pictures with you so that you have problems at a later stage stopping them because that takes a lot of time. And if you edit it by yourself, pressing that delete button is a huge problem. You generally don't end up pressing the delete button just because the reason is this photo might be good, right? That is one. And if you're working with an editor, I always suggest people that if you're a photographer, hire an editor for yourself. Because again, the same, you will not be able to press the delete button for every picture that you don't like. So what happens is this keeps stacking and stacking and stacking, right? And in this particular field, if I talk about as a career, your portfolio is very, very important part, right? If you have a good portfolio with you, you get clients very easily. Today, every time you pick for a assignment, the first thing that the client asks is, so what is your portfolio? Please send us your work link. That is what we want. So if your work links are updated, up to the date, always keep them handy, either in an email or a particular folder in your mobile phone. Just keep them always handy because anytime the client can ask you for a portfolio, and you should have. I think what I usually do is I have a set email which has my introduction, which is a nice introduction about what I do, how I do, and it actually keeps on changing according to the client. For example, I'm getting a wedding client, so I will change, a particular language in that particular thing, but more or less the link in the description. There's a YouTube link to it, and then you just go to that YouTube link. You can see all my work, and that's how it. One more thing: once you start growing in this business, have a website for yourself because that gives you a digital footprint, and that's a very important part because that's
Can you put your PPT on presentation mode, please? Thank you.
It's good. Yeah. Okay. Then coming to archiving photos. When I talk about archiving photographs, it is basically putting the pictures together, keeping them for referential preferences, and for also coming out with pictures as and when needed, because important events have to be kept very properly, right? And in today's digital platform, keep in mind when you are archiving your pictures to keep it at least at 2 to 3 places, because if one thing goes down, you have other option. Always remember, buy a cloud space for yourself. Keep your photographs online as well, apart from your hard drive. Your hard drive can go off, but your cloud pictures remain. Don't worry, they are always safe if you have a proper way of maintaining pictures in that particular cloud system. Charge wisely, because a lot of people I've come across over the internet when I see a lot of people pitching for work. For example, for an assignment, I charge 50,000 rupees. I'm just giving you an example. And there's somebody who's charging 5,000 rupees. So the client asks, he's charging for that particular assignment 5,000. Why are you charging 50,000? You have to be conveying enough to tell that particular client that, see, the experience matters, right? Your work matters. Your work should speak for your 50,000 rupees that you're asking, right? And that is very, very important. A photographer's journal or generally not always only do clicking pictures. They are very, very different kind of forms of things and duties that you are supposed to do, like social marketing, like professional organization, like understanding what the client needs. Remember one thing: apart from a good visualizer or a photographer, you have to be a very, very good listener. Because hota kya hai, what happens is that at times client give you a brief and you think that you will create a particular picture at the time of clicking it. But it is a very important fact. I always prefer personally speaking, when I go for a client meeting or a pitch meeting, for that sake, I always carry a paper and a pen or a diary or a pen, because I want to note what client has to say. Because a lot of times I faced this issue when I was starting to do photography and filmmaking per se. That when they come for the first brief, or when you go for the first brief with the client doesn't know much. But at the day of the shoot, there are hundreds of things that comes to the mind of the client, and then there is a difference of opinion, and then there is a problem. The shoot might get spoiled just because your understanding and the client's understanding does not match, and then there is a problem, because then client will say, no, I wanted this and you have given me this, right? So always be a good listener. Ask as many questions as you can to the client before saying yes for a shoot. Don't run after the money. A lot of people say that you know he's charging 5,000 rupees for for the same thing. So you always tell them that, listen, I can't do this assignment at this cost because there are hundreds of things involved, and I will give you the kind of output which is very, very necessary, right? Remember, don't fear of renting equipment. Please keep in mind, always have one single or at least two vendors with you who are always available for you for renting of equipment. And always do your recce and your research before. Like, for example, when I go for a shoot, and for example, I'm shooting somewhere which is outside the city boundaries. So what I prefer to do, I tell the client that, for example, I'm shooting an industry, say in Arunachal Pradesh, so or Andhra Pradesh, for that sake, right? So I always tell the client that I want to reach a day before, so that I can plan my shoot that way. So one day, me and my crew spend our time on the recce of the shoot before even picking up the cameras, right? And start having this exercise for yourself. A lot of photographers like us, we have this problem that when we start doing photography, we end up clicking anything and everything, right? So there's an experiment that I did recently with my students, where I teach also. So I took them for a photo walk, and I asked them, it was a 2 days photo walk. I asked them to deposit their cameras with me on the first day of the photo walk. So they were just allowed to only roam around the place and come back. Next day, they had planned their shoot and then they shot. And then it was a commercial exercise. So what we did was that we went to the photo walk, we clicked certain pictures and assignments, and then we converted into a exhibition, which was further pictures were sold in the market, right? Remember, your post processing is the important part that gets you a lot of good assignments in your life. Then yeah, I think more or less all my points are covered. Any questions for now?
We do have some questions in our Q&A section.
Please go ahead.
So you can read and answer whichever the question you want to answer. So just click on unanswered question.
Will I stop sharing? Okay. I used to follow your work a lot, and I wanted to know how to master the post-processing magic that you create in each and every one. Okay. Should I type or should I simply answer?
You can answer simply.
Okay. Hi. I actually, frankly telling you, I don't post-process my images much. That's a surprise for everybody. The reason being is that I prefer to create the picture within the camera itself using a particular technique, which is the which I follow is that the bar in the center, because the plus 3 and the minus 3, the exposition composition, I try to play around with that, right? And avoid as much editing. So the maximum editing that I do on Photoshop is Control L and Control M, which is the levels and the curves, is the only thing that I play around. So I give a lot of time to understand how my picture is going to exactly look, because most of us, when we start doing photography, we have crop sensor cameras. So what we see from the viewfinder and what we finally click is a little bit different. If I can show you, I think my screen is still working. Now I'll show you a picture of mine, which is one of the most awarded pictures. I'll just quickly show you that. This one. Can everybody see it? Okay, this picture of mine is one of the most awarded pictures that I have clicked till date. This picture talks about the situation. It's from a play called Stree, and it was by Khalsa College. And this particular act, I had seen the play around 5-6 times. This is a non-edited picture. It has not been touched at all. It was clicked with a black and white manual filter, which is the actual filter which you attach in front of the camera. It's not from a digital filter. I hope I have answered that question.
Okay, so the next question is how to grow as an artist. This is from Vig Vanita. Vanita, actually.
Where is that question? I can't see.
I'm reading out for you for an easy reference. So, how to grow as an artist?
Okay. How to grow as an artist? I think you have to work a lot, and you don't have to think about the money part when you start, because a lot of people that I have started to work with recently, I hire interns. When I take interns, the first question they ask is, "Sir, how much are you going to pay to me?" And my only answer is, "Thank you so much," because when I started to learn photography, there's a difference between being an apprentice and being an intern. There are two different things, right? If I can put it in a Hindi format, shagird banna bahut zaruri hai, right? And when you become a shagird, you actually devote yourself. So you have to actually devote yourself towards the art. You have to think on the perspective of what exactly the client is looking for you, and that's how you grow as an artist. Don't fear about what people are going to think, because each and every picture is a very good picture, right? It might be like, don't think how many likes you are getting on Facebook or on Instagram. It really doesn't matter. If you have a good picture with you, people will love it. Even if you don't have good likes or likes or comments on your picture, it really doesn't matter. Don't fear that if my picture doesn't get, say, 100 likes to it, my world of photography is finished. No, it is not ending there.
So, related to this, I would like to add regarding the internship. So, Harshit once won one of the competition, and he had an option to take a lot of money at that point of time, or take an internship, unpaid internship with Anurag Kashyap. He ended up taking the internship, and guys, if you are not aware, he been a assistant director with Girl in Yellow Boot, and I think we all know Gangs of Wasipur and several other movies. So very well said, Harshit.
Yeah, because when we were. Thank you for sharing that thing. So when we were in Bombay, we sent our film to Bombay, and it was with IIT Powai, if I'm not wrong. So the guys had told us that you have two options: either take an internship or you take 1 lakh rupees cash prize. Our team decided, no, we don't need really the money part of it. internship is way more important.
Okay. Next question we have. This is how to start as a professional travel photographer.
Sorry.
How to start as a travel photographer, like where you get paid as also.
Um, Remember one thing: when you want to get into travel photography, you really have to travel. And by traveling, it doesn't mean that you go to Manali, you go to Murthal, you go to places like which are very nearby. No, you have to actually explore. And travel logging, when you do travel photography, it doesn't actually require what best food is that part of that particular city. No, at times travel photography talks about the culture of that place. At times the travel photography talks about the way the city runs. So you have to actually do a little bit of research before you go to a city. For example, there's a place called Munshiari. I don't know how many of you heard about that place. Now, Munshiari is a very distinctive place. It's really far. It's around 1200, 1300 kilometers from this place. And that too in the hills. You have to ride around 780 kilometers. I have done a biking tour till Munshiari. So it was around 780 kilometers in the hills. And that is a huge, sorry, that's a huge distance. But if you go to Munshiari, Munshiari has this very distinctive culture of interacting with people. So even if when we were at the hotel, we really wanted to go bulge out of the place and see even in the night. So there are people who are sitting together. So you get these kinds of pictures. So you have to actually look for images rather than just clicking. So the key to travel photography is just first roam around the area, look what things are, and then before pressing that shutter button, you have to actually think a lot of things before you actually click that shutter. And I always prefer that I really don't click a second picture of the same picture. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. Is that if I have one frame, that it is only one frame. There are no repetitive frames to it. There are no different angles, because your first frame is the original frame. The rest are just copies of it, right? It can be called an innovation. No. The point is your first image that you click from that is what you have actually thought in your mind before clicking that picture. Iske baad, whatever you do is just improvising the same picture and there's nothing different to it. Yeah.
So the next question we have is how do I advertise my profile when I am new if I'm new fashion photographer, so that I'm recognized? Like how to get publicized yourself?
Okay. Before you actually try and start doing your photography publicity, try getting an internship with somebody and learn fashion photography, because what happens is that when you actually go and learn from somebody, you actually go and you will actually learn the nicks of it. Let me tell you through an example. When I started doing photography and filmmaking back in my college days, so I used to just sit in the studio of my seniors where they are working for their films, and then I used to just observe, right? And when I used to observe, so this happened for at least 6 months or so. So I was just sitting in the studio and I had only two works to do. One, to set up the studio before the seniors arrive. Second, to clean the studio. I used to actually clean the studio for when everything is done, everything is wrapped up. My work was pick a broom and clean the studio. But you know what the best thing I learned about from that is that you have to have a lot of patience. So when you're growing your digital audience, you have to don't think that if you spend say 1,000 rupees on Instagram in audience building or social marketing, you will have an instant followers. But I think there is a difference between organic and digital followers. So if you have a genuine work, keep working. That's what I'm trying to underline throughout my entire talk. That keep working, working and working. Your portfolio and your audience will build by itself. Don't worry about
We have another audio question. This is from Vansika Jaiswal. Vansika, please go ahead and ask. Hana, you are unmuted. Please go ahead and ask the question. You guys had raised your hand. Okay, meanwhile, we take a question like best age to start photography.
Best age,
Yeah.
no age for it. I have a 6-year-old niece of mine. She has started doing photography. There's no age limit to it. There's no limit. There's no starting point. My 6-year-old niece actually does photography. Although she's just trying to handle cameras, but it's too heavy for her. So we have brought her a very small point and shoot because she's very interested and she loves clicking flowers.
Okay.
So starting is nothing. There's nothing called a starting age for. But yes,
Second.
obviously commercial.
Mhm.
See, I would always suggest you can learn from YouTube, you can learn from other sources, but I always suggest people to get a proper degree or a proper, at least a diploma in photography, because that adds as a extra benefit for you as compared to other people's in the market.
Okay, guys,
Learn.
you can raise your hand if you have any question. So next question. Sorry, you wanna say something else? Next question is from Avik Datta. Sir, I want to do documentary for national and international magazines or any publishing work. Can you guide me how to start with?
So see, when you start, when you do for a magazine, you have to actually contact the editor. I think Mukesh is the right person to contact for the magazine work because he has a lot of experience into it. But when you start learning, when you start doing pictures for a magazine, you have to understand what is the basic idea that a particular organization is taking out the magazine for, right? So, for example, you can't submit your travel pictures for somebody who is doing wildlife publications. So, you have to identify the right kind of magazine that you want to give the picture for. You have to understand the right kind of people you have to interact with, and read a lot of magazines. Like for example, Chiiz, for example, gives a very good platform because I've been reading Chiiz for at least 2 or 3 years, if I'm not wrong, more than that, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
So
you had been one of our first
first
subscribers.
subscribers, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I what when I compared about other magazines from Chiiz magazines, because I was reading better photography, I was reading other kind of photography also, magazines also. So as a photographer, I would love to see more of images as compared to more of text, because photographs will help you understand how things are actually there. And when I read, for example, I'm reading Chiiz, or for example, I'm reading any other magazine, I always look for metadata in that particular image, because that metadata will actually, what I hope everybody knows what a metadata is. If anybody doesn't know, metadata is basically your shutter, aperture, and ISO. What settings were used, you have to really understand that part, right? Because, for example, sun is same for everybody, but the way you click it is the different part of it, right? Okay.
Um, yeah, thank you, and yes, you guys can get in touch with me directly or with our team. We would be able to give you more details. But overall, yes, you need to follow the magazine, figure it out what they are publishing, and based on their special issues, uh, you can submit your work. Or for commission work also, you can contact with us. Sometimes we do have some commission work which where the stories are rare, which are required to be done separately. So we do commission such kind of assignments. Thank you, Harshit, for the nice word.
Yeah.
Next question we have is from Dito Zegragas. Say, especially in your photos, we are seeing good poses. Hope they are professional. Thanks for the motivation. So there's a comment about your photos.
Okay. For me, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So when was it for me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. See, when you talk about the poses, you have to do a little bit of homework in terms of poses. There's always a feel attached to it, and you have to really get that feel. So, one thing I would like to tell you that when you start doing photography, keep one thing in mind. Don't fear what people are going to say when you do, crazy stuff. What I mean to say is, at times when I have to tell my model to pose in a certain way, I actually pose for her. It can be anything on this earth. And at times it becomes a very funny thing because I'm a fat guy. So to pose like that becomes very fun at the studio. But that's what let my team work and grow that way. Because if you enjoy your work, I think that is the best thing. So for the poses, I would always say do a little bit of your homework, understanding what you are clicking for the product. For example, you are clicking diamonds per se. So you should have that feel that you are holding a diamond with you. And the moment you as a photographer understand what is that field of holding a precious diamond in your hand, you'll be very it will be very easy for you to make your model understand the same feeling, right? I think I got a question. Okay.
Yeah. So we have a question like I'm a freelance photojournalist. This is from Suwajit Mukherjee. How can I approach photo agencies for any kind of internship?
See, for that thing, I would suggest that there are a lot of stock websites where you can submit your pictures, and once those pictures get sold off, you can earn money from that. But when approaching a photo agency, you have to follow a lot of people on Facebook and, for example, the magazines where a particular demand for certain projects. You have to really look, and you have to look around the places, and you have to understand the point is that you have to actually visit a lot of photo agencies personally and try and figure out what they're looking for. Because please be very good when it comes to talking. Don't fear to talk to them. The
Uh,
assignment obviously.
we have a voice question from Topashis Bhattacharya.
Okay.
Topashis, please go ahead. You are unmuted right now.
Yeah, hi Harshit. Harshit,
Hi.
just one a simple question actually. This
Can
is
you
a
be a little loud? I
on.
can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, what I'm saying is that like I keep on doing the street photography, and especially the situation right now that we are facing. So every day,
Mhm.
sometimes I click the street pictures. Now, how do I send to the news agencies and all like that? These are the things that I've been doing recently.
Okay, I got it. I think what you're trying to ask is how you can send your pictures to the news agencies for them to show it in the newspaper or on the television channels,
Right, right.
right, Abhishek? Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether you're following the news these days or not, But a lot of TV channels are actually asking citizens to send their pictures, and they are using a specifically, like for example, because I keep on sending a lot of my images, and I keep on flying a drone, my drone a lot around where I live. So what generally they are asking is that you tweet the picture to them, right? And they always have the contact email. If you go to their website, there's a particular section called the citizen journalism, where you can actually go, and they have an email address or a phone number where you can actually send your images. You have to look. You have to go to the. Say, for example, I'm talking about NDTV. So if NDTV asks you to, they don't have any email or something. They ask you to tweet using their hashtag called @NDTV.
Okay, we have next question from Dinesh. Dinesh, if you can speak out.
Can't see that.
You are unmuted, Dinesh. Okay.
Debate.
No problem. We can take a new one. Seems like his net might not be working. Any tips for? So, what is the documentary photography? This question is from Ahana Ghosh.
Okay, so what is happening right now is something that you need to document, so that when there is a future generation that comes up, they actually come to know what exactly happened, right? And pictures are something, because I hope everybody of us have listened about this quote, which I'm going to quote, is that picture speaks 1,000 words. Even if you don't write that much and you have a good picture of a particular incident. For example, if I talk about Godhra Kand, the Godhra incident, that one picture of a man who is like this and crying speaks a lot of things about the situation in Gujarat that time. If I talk about Bhopal gas strategy, that child image who was buried in the ground, just give you that instinct ki, okay, this is what happened, right? So that is something you need to understand. So that's why documentary photography or making documentaries right now, if I talk about the present scenario, is very important. There are two reasons to it. A, to tell in the future, or tell in the future what exactly happened. And second thing is to just collect the data together for analysis at a particular time, or to take out a solution to a conflict at a particular time. That's why documentary photography has a very important role throughout the world.
Okay. We have another question. This is from Krishnajit Devnath. He asked a question about fashion, which you have already answered. A very commonly asked question, like, what's the scope of travel photography? Oh, sorry, street travel. You have already answered that. What's the scope of street photography?
See, for street photography, there is one key that you need to understand, is that you have to do a lot of work, and don't click images which are easily or cliche available. Right? What makes you a good street photographer is that you try to understand the inner part of the story rather than just reading the top part of the story. Right? For example, I talk about Chandni Chowk. The first thing that comes in mind is, people sitting on the ground, having tea, having parathas, having those lanes. That's the first thing that everybody clicks, right? But there are hundreds of things that happen around Chandni Chowk or in Chandni Chowk per se. For example, the clinic that runs in the morning on the people. So you have to really keep your eyes and ears open when you do street photography. If you want to grow in street photography, the best way is try to participate in as many competitions as you can. once your photos starts to get published at the places, or you will start winning competitions, you start getting recognitions. And once you start getting the recognitions, that builds a confidence for you to go ahead with street photography and commercialize it. So always remember, start doing group shows, because if you do an individual show, that might become boring for people. Start doing group shows. Say you have 5 friends, combine together, pitch a little bit of money, hire a place and put an exhibition. Call your near and dear ones, call good people in the market to come and visit it, and that gives a lot of authenticity to your work.
Okay. We have another question which is asking about which camera to buy for videography. I have actually a couple of questions about the video, some question about the script writing. So guys, we have one session with Sigma. This event is possible, happen to be possible because of them. I will hold these questions right now, but we'll answer them. We will have a specialist from Sigma who can answer deep technical questions as well, as long as the videography is concerned. Let's take another question. Most of the time, I doubt on myself that I can do photography. Is it just happening with me, or it is the case with most of the people? And how to keep ourselves motivated? Very
Yeah,
important question.
important questions. I'm very glad that somebody asked. I don't know who asked this question, please.
Maybe can put the name like somebody asked on the team only. I
Okay,
just The names are written with their IDs, so sometimes it's
okay.
difficult to figure out.
Yeah, I think that's a very important part, because at one point of time, even I had this issue, that I started to feel that everybody is doing photography. What am I doing different, right? And that is a point when you have to realize, okay, now you have to step out of your cocoon and think something which is very different. And you have to keep yourself motivated. How I keep myself motivated to keep on keep on doing a lot of photography is listening to good music. And there's a difference between listening to songs and listening to music. Music is very different from what songs are, right? So I listen to a lot of music to keep myself motivated, and it just keeps happening. So you don't have to fear. You're a beautiful soul who is doing some creative work, and people love you for that. One thing more, if your friends ask you to click their pictures, because a lot of time when you start doing photography, your first audience is your friends, are your friends. So what I used to do back again in the college days, when I started doing photography, I actually had a chance to bet with one of my teachers, who was my photography head, to allow me to do photography in a very different way. So what we did was, there was an annual function of my college which was supposed to happen, and I was the photography president of the club. So I had to take this call because we did not have money to put the exhibition. So what we did was, we did not had sponsors, we did not had money to put the exhibition. We had pitched money like 500 rupees, because we were students, we could afford that much at that point in time. So I asked my teachers that, this back in 2009, if I'm not wrong. So I told my teacher that, sir, I am good at photography. I want to experiment something. So as a photographer, you have to experiment. So now I'm telling a story. So I told them that people know me in college. Right? They know my face. I'm a photographer. They know that. I want to use my face as a commercial identity. And what I will do is that I will go to the canteen, cafeteria area and charge 10 rupees for a picture. Let's see what happens. So there were 3 categories. If I click a single person, I will charge 10 rupees. If I click double people, 2 people, I will charge 30 rupees. And if it's more than 2 people, I will charge 50 rupees. It is as simple as that. Giving 10 bucks, 20 bucks, 30 bucks, 50 bucks is not a big thing for people. right? Trust me, I was down. I was in the cafeteria for 3 to 4 hours, if I'm not wrong, and I had 7,500 rupees in my pocket at the end of the day. That's it. And it was only single images, and that's how my commercial journey began. So I knew that if I can click faces, I can earn 10 rupees a picture. But that 10 rupees at the end of the day will become 7,500 rupees. And that's how we get the money for the exhibition to be set up. Right? To keep yourself motivated, even if you click your friends, bet with them. Say them that I will charge 10 rupees from you. If you don't like my picture, what I click, you can, I will give you 20 rupees back. So his 10 rupees plus 10 rupees more, you will give from your side. Trust me, I have done this experiment with myself and I have never lost this bet. I've always got that 10 rupees with me.
Okay, cool. We have Dinesh Sharma having a voice question. Dinesh, please go ahead. You are unmuted right now. Dinesh, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello Mukesh sir, how are you?
Good, Dinesh. Please ask your question.
Yeah, I just want to ask one thing. I am 33-year-old and I just started my career in fashion photography. I've just invested in a good camera also. But now I don't know how to proceed, to whom to contact to the picture, because I don't have anyone in my contact list who is a photographer also. So I'm just stranded in just a street. I don't know what to do and how to do.
Okay. What kit are you using right away?
Pardon?
What kit are you using right away?
Right now I have Sony A7R3 plus 50mm 1.8.
Good camera. Okay. So I would suggest to you go on the Facebook. There is a lot of groups that are there on Facebook. For example, if I can show you, there is a photographers group of Delhi NCR. If you are from Delhi NCR, but there is an All India photographers group also, and there's something called DPEC, where a lot of photographer assignment. Then there's something called Style Stamp, if I'm not wrong. There's a web page, there's a Facebook page called Style Stamp. There's a lot of assignments from bloggers that keep on coming there during the day, so you can keep tracking that and start getting assignment. But before that, if you have to pitch, I am again saying, build your portfolio. Use anybody in your house, your friend, anybody. Just build your portfolio for a while and then start pitching to the client. You have to build a little bit of your portfolio. Then you are just starting, contact any of your friends, even if in the starting at times this happens, that for example, you pitch a client, you be honest to the client, you tell them, I have just started, you have to trust me. You don't give me that much money what I am looking for, but you can give me my say travel fee or something like that, and I can do the portfolio for you, and then you can use that portfolio to build your portfolio further. There has to be a stepping stone for you. But you can go to pages like Style Stamp. You can contact Chiiz also. You can go to Delhi NCR photographers. You can go to a lot of pages. There are a lot of assignment pages that keeps on coming up. Even I am building a page right now, which would be a group and a page, which will be called Paid Lancers. It will only talk about getting assignments to photographers. It will be providing a good platform for photographers.
Okay, next question we have. So we are getting a lot of video questions, which we are holding right now. But meanwhile, we have one question from Sarthak. Sarthak, please go ahead.
Yeah, hello, sir. Thank you for this session. My question is, sir, like from where to seek advice from a work, like whether we have progressed from yesterday or not, like where to approach a mentor so that we can take the guidance as well as we can work with them.
Good question, Sarthak. Very good question. I was so looking for this. So there are two ways of doing it, Sarthak. One, you can contact me if you want. You can. I'm open to it. You can start sending me your work. And there's another way of doing it. That's how I, because when I started doing photography back in 2008, we really did not have much people to guide us. So what I used to do is every day I used to make this target to at least click 100 pictures, roughly 100 pictures. Out of that, my ratio would used to be around 10 to 15 images which are good to go on Facebook or Instagram. If I don't know how many are there on my profile out of you, but if you go to my profile, if you date back from 2008 till 2013, every day there is an album which used to be uploaded. I used to make sure that by the end of the day, I have around 10 to 15 images which are uploaded, right? I used to live in the hostel in my college days, and my hostel and my cafeteria area was a 5 minutes walk. But it used to take me 1.5 hours to come down from my room to this place. For the reason being is, every step I used to take, I used to find somebody whom I can click. I used to carry my camera 24/7, right? So, Sarthak, if I'm not wrong, so what you do is you compare your images first with yourself, and then you can send it to me. I am open to it. You can obviously send the pictures to me, and I will definitely come back to you with. I am sorry, but I am at times I am very critical about my comments, so I hope you will not mind that.
Okay. Thank you. Now we have another question. This question is, it came on our chat. What is the lightest camera do photojournalists use? Like he has written more points too. So what the camera do you suggest for photojournalist? This question is from Shivam, and he has written that if the camera is heavy, it's very difficult. So I guess we have to answer this question. We do have a representative of Sigma, and if you want, I can play their material too. And those questions, like I have a couple of questions about the videos, how to choose the camera, which camera is good, what all points to be mentioned about the videography as it's upcoming these days. So Harshit, maybe you can give an overview, then I can hand it over to the Sigma representative. Harshit, you there? Seems like we lost Harshit. We lost the connection. Suresh, are you there? Can you unmute
Yes,
yourself?
sir. Yes.
So, guys, meanwhile, we have representative Mr. Suresh. He's representing Sigma. So there is a camera from Sigma which he's going to walk us through regarding that. So I think just now I got a message that Harshit's laptop, I think it's got hang or some internet problem. So meanwhile, like I'll please go ahead, Suresh. Over to you.
Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for inviting me and giving this opportunity for giving a small brief on the new Sigma FP. Most of them, I think you must not be aware of this Sigma FP camera. We will see one by one. I like to give a small PPT presentation on Sigma FP. What is this camera about and what's the applications? Okay. Sir, I think when I say next, can you able to move the next slide? Okay.
Sure.
Yes. Can you move to the next? So what is the Sigma FP about? See, now the industry is going towards independent filmmaking because normally we started our careers as a photographers and now we are going with the video making. Sorry, the second one.
You want me to move the slide?
Yes, sir. Move to the top, not the bottom. Move to the top. The second one, the second slide.
This one?
No, previous.
This one? This is the number 2.
The previous, yeah. Let it be. Let it be. See, now we are moving from photography to videography, and now we are doing a lot of wedding videos, and now we are moving to the cine. That means the cine is totally a different thing, and a lot of independent filmmakers has grown. Okay, now we want to cut down our cost, and we want to give the best out of us. Okay, so this camera is about and the camera which you can use it for independent filmmaking with a compact. If my budget is very low, but I want to use my other equipments, which is already I'm holding it. I don't want to invest more. I want to keep it small, compact, easy for carry. And in the question session, also I saw somebody is asking for a camera which can be light for a journalism, and this is the camera for the journalism because this is very light and you can take still as well as still. So just a small brief, we can see what is the main features of this. This is the very lightest camera, and it's a full frame, not a APS-C format. It's a full frame sensor. It's only 365 grams, and it's a 35 sensor. It's not a mechanical shutter; it's an electronic shutter. And most of them are worried about the mounts, sir, whether it's an EF mount or a F mount or a Nikon mount or a Sony E mount. Now, this camera, it's a L mount. So we will see how to adapt a Canon lenses into this camera as well as cinema lenses into the camera step by step. Okay, and it has a capable of recording a 12-bit cinema DN0. I think most of them should be aware of what is cinema DN0. It's an uncompressed format which is used in the filming. Okay. So can we move to the next? So can we move to the next slide? Yes. So why the development has come for that? Why we came up with why the Sigma came with the FP camera? There are three things. First one is smartphone. So in smartphone you can take pictures. So go to the previous one, please. Go to the previous slide. So can you go to the previous slide, please? Yes, please open. See, what is the advantage of a smartphone and what is poor? See, in smartphones you can easily take a video as well as still images, but you can't able to get a good image quality. That means you can't able to get a good picture or a good video.
Hi, I'm back, guys.
You come to the smartphone slide, sir. Please come to the smartphones. Next. Yeah. Please. Please. And interchangeable cameras. Interchangeable cameras nothing but the DSLR cameras. There are some restrictions in that, in which it's as I told, it's a little bit heavier to carry. You can't run around. Yeah. No, no. Come to the previous one, please. The smartphone slider. The smartphone slider. Previous one. Before this. Before this. Okay. FP development concept. Yeah, this is the one. So move the slides only when I say next. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So what we have seen the interchangeable lens camera. So what we can't do and what we can do with interchangeable lens cameras. And the third one is cine camera. Cine camera, you know, it's high value, heavy to carry, but it gives high resolution images. That means high resolution pictures and videos. So this can we move to the next? Keeping the smartphone, digital SLR camera, and cinema camera in mind, we developed something new called Sigma FP. The first thing is pocketable full frame camera. You can carry it anywhere because it's only 396 grams, lightweight. You can put it in a pocket, and we called as scalable. The scalable in which you can pair something which you already have. If somebody has a Canon lens, you can use the same Canon lens to this camera. Adaptability that we call scalable. Seamless. See, normally when we want to move from photography to cinema mode, we need to go to the menu and we need to change a lot of settings inside the menu options. But in this camera, in a single click, we can move from still to cinema. People may ask, if I move from still to cine, do I need to change all the settings inside the menu? It's not complicated. When you move from still to cine to still, the menus are open. When you press a quick button, there is one quick button there. If you press that button, it gives the complete readings like ISO, white balance, everything. Whatever you want to change, you can change seamless. Can we move to the next? As I told, it's a completely a 35 mm full frame camera. It's a 24.6 megapixels layer sensor. You must be aware of the layer sensor. And it's only 370 grams without battery. And with the battery, it goes to 420 grams or 450 grams. And you can see the dimensions. Next. This camera can be used in 7 setups. You can see this one has a cine style. The drone style is there. You can go for a live streaming. See, all the cameras can do live streaming, but this camera can able to do a 4K live streaming. So you can see how the 4K looks when the live streaming is going on. It looks like real. It's like happening at our place. The clarity, and you can use it in gimbal. You can use it for a portraiture. You can use for a field, and it gives a snap style also. So you can use this camera for 7 shooting styles. One camera with 7 options. Next. This is the thing I explained on the third point. Seamless transmission between still and cine. You can see the switch over there from cine. Simply you can switch over to still, from still to cine. Not only the from cine to still, not only the button, the options also will be changing completely. Like if you go to cine, it gives the frame rate, everything changes. And when you are going for the still mode, it gives the white balance, ISO, order options. Next. Full-time electronic setup. See, normally in a compact camera, it's very complicated to use a mechanical shutter. That's the reason we have come up with a full-time electronic shutter. The advantage of electronic shutter, there won't be any noise. You can take a silent photo. It will be useful for the field. It will be useful for a journalist because the click sound will be there. There is no need to go to the menu and switch off the sound for taking maybe portraits. It will be more useful. Next. Color modes. This regularly you can see in all the cameras. Sometimes we call this as a LUT. We have a 12 types of color options like vivid, neutral, portrait, landscape, city. It goes on. Up to 12 color modes are there. You can choose your colors. Even it gives the cinematic look also. Next. teal and orange. This is a new thing. You can see the difference. It gives an orange look. Actually, this teal and orange, so you can't able to find in any cameras in the market as of now. But this camera gives the orange look. It's highly vibrant and deeply dramatic. You can see the dramatic. The left side is the normal image. When you choose the teal and orange button, the image becomes dramatic. Next. And this mode can be used for both still and video. You can choose the teal and orange and you can record the video also. Tone. Tone mode is like quickly changing into strong mild. That means you can change your highlight to the normal or to the mild or to the strong. You have the option for changing. Next. HDR. You must be aware of it, high dynamic range. So you take 3 pictures for still photography. That means overexposed, underexposed, normal, and it combines the 3 images to give a right output. For video, it takes 2 frames. Normally for video mode, there is no HDR function. But in our camera, you can, in a video, it takes 2 frames in HDR and it gives the video output. For cine. Next. Fill light. Using fill light, you can adjust the brightness in the image. This normally we call as exposure, increasing to plus 5 and coming down to -5. In some cameras, we have +3 to -3. Next. As I told, Cinema DNG RAW. Cinema DNG RAW in compact cameras, you can go up to 8-bit or 10-bit. But this camera can able to record at 12-bit with 24 frames. But for that, we need to use an external hard disk because normally a compact camera can't able to record a Cinema DNG RAW file. The reason it gets more. Okay, so you can go up to 8-bit internal recording. The 10-bit and 12-bit can be recorded with an external recorder. Next. As I told you, you can record a 4K video with 24 frames and 12-bit. You must have a question, sir. How I can able to record a 4K video? Can I record with the normal SD card? No. Go to the previous. Yes. So most of them must have questions like, in which card I need to use for a 4K video to record at 12-bit? How I can able to record? See, you can use an SD card UHS-2, which is an high speed. Inside the camera, you can record up to 8-bit. Sir, I have an external recorder. Let me say Atmos Ninja or a Blackmagic Assist. Then you can, through the HDMI cable, you can record 10-bit, 12-bit. Okay. Sir, I have a SSD Samsung T5, the hard drive. With the USB-C type, you can record 12-bit. Okay. So we have an option. So through the SD card, you can record 8-bit. With the external monitor through HDMI, you can record 4K, 12-bit and 10-bit. With the USB-C type SSD, Samsung T5 hard drive, you can record at 12-bit, seamless, no breaks. It can go up to 50 minutes recording continuous, no break.
Suresh,
Yes.
we are getting some questions. So do you want to take them, those questions?
I think we can, at the last, we can answer the questions. Because, let us complete the slides so that we can clearly give the suggestions.
Okay.
Yes. Next. So this is the bitrate. Normally people will ask, sir, what about the bitrate? When I am going for a cinema or a MOV file in UHD, what is the bitrate? So it's a slide where you can find the bill rate. These specifications are available on Sigma global site as well as sigmaindia.in website. Okay, we can move to the next. Yeah. There is a time code. Normally, when we record a film, we need to use the time code because we want to match the audio with the movie file. So time code is important one. Please keep the slide, don't move it. Director's viewfinder option, DVF, director's viewfinder. This is a very interesting one. Normally, you can't able to find in this particular mode in any cameras. But these options are available through apps on mobiles. But you can go with low resolution recording. What is director's viewfinder? How I am going to use it? See, if you are an independent filmmaker, let me say if you are a director or a cinematographer, you are traveling to some locations. Okay. You feel the location is good. You want to use that location in your original footage, but there is no camera with you. But you are carrying the FP camera. You have the FP camera now. I want to record the footage. But the original footage, normally you may be using an ARRI camera or a RED or a Sony. Okay. But you want the exact frame of an ARRI or an exact frame of a RED or an exact frame of a Sony. You can choose the menu in the camera. The menu gives three different brands like ARRI, RED and Sony. You choose first the brand. Next option, you can choose the model of the camera. Next option, you can choose the frame. So that this camera becomes an ARRI camera. This camera becomes a RED or this camera becomes a Sony. So whatever original footage you are going to record with the original camera, you can record the same thing with the same frame size with the 4K footage, which can be mixed with the original one. Okay. It's easy for carrying. It is more useful for directors as well as cinematographers, even for the camera assistant when they go for the locations. If they don't want to miss the shoot, they can record with us. We can move to the next. So can we move to the next? Yes. Touch proof and splash proof. This is not a waterproof, it's a splash proof. When you are using suddenly something, water droplets, some rain is started, you can use it for some times, just wipe it fully, keep it safe. Yeah, please keep this. Aluminum body and heat stick. See, normally when we record a video, we can feel heat on the camera. And sometimes, so, go to the previous, please. Go to the previous. So the previous one. So can you go to the previous slide, please? Yeah. See, you can see this aluminum body. The reason why we kept the aluminum body backside of the monitor because this camera doesn't have a tiltable screen. It's a fixed screen. Reason we want to give a continuous recording up to 15 minutes, seamless. Okay, there is no break in the video. Even when you are recording a 12-bit 4K cinema, there won't be any break because normally when you go for a video recording, you can capture up to 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and again we need to go for the second. In this camera, continuously you can go up to 15 minutes video recording, and even the battery is capable of giving a power up to 15 minutes. Okay, next. Next. So can we move to the next one? The next one. Yeah, please be honest. See, this mount, native mount is L mount. People must be aware of that Sigma, Panasonic, and Leica together they have come up with the L mount. The reason they want to use, please go to the previous one.
You there, Suresh?
Please go to the previous one. Previous one. The mount, L mount. That slide. No, sorry. You are moving upwards. Move to the downwards. The previous slide. Yeah. See, Panasonic, Sigma, Leica together, they have come up with the L mount. The reason they want to use all the lenses. Okay. Even a Leica mount lenses can be used with Panasonic. The Panasonic L mount lenses can be used with Sigma. So most of them, it's very difficult when you are buying something new. Again, we want to invest for the lenses. That is a difficult one. See, for example, if he is a Canon user, if somebody is a Canon user, they want to switch over to Nikon or they want to switch over to Sony. Again, they have to invest for the lenses. But for Sigma, it's not like that. When you are going for a Sigma FP, if you already have a EF lenses, that means the Canon series, then we have an adapter called MC21 through which you can use all the EF lenses. Okay, all your Canon lenses can be used with L mount Sigma FP using MC21 adapter, and it's not too expensive. The list price is around 23,000. A single adapter which can use all your lenses. But some DOPs may have a question. Sir, I want to shoot with cine lenses, not with photographic lenses. I want to use my cine lenses. So how I can able to use this? You can go for MC31. MC31 is an adapter by which you can use all your cinema lenses. It may be an ultra prime, it may be a master prime, size, sigma cine, everything. Because all PL mounts can be used with sigma FP using a single adapter called MC31. Because that is not too expensive, it comes around 69,000 discounts. Okay, next slide. So the accessories which comes in the box is the PP51 battery, the strap holder. It comes with an adapter which you can connect the USB cable and charge it. And there is a UHU11. This unit is for mounting the flash. And the important thing is it has the flash in speed 1 by 30 seconds because this is not a studio camera. This is not a studio camera. This is only for ambient. Okay. So basically, when you are in a shoot, you want to take the scene, you want to capture a still on the ambient light, you can capture it. If you want to sync high speed, this camera is not useful. And basically, I advise this camera, it's preferable for filmmaking. And if you want to do filmmaking in manual mode, manual focusing, I prefer this because most of the wedding videographers they go for a auto focusing. Auto focusing you can't able to find too fast like what you are getting with Sony, Canon, or Nikon. But this camera is not meant for video. If somebody is interested to play with manual focus, please use this camera, but not for auto focus videos. Okay, next slide. Sir.
Suresh, we have some
Next.
questions now. I guess time to move to that. Or I guess, do you have more slides in this?
Yes, I think we have completed 90%. I think only 2 or 3 slides are remaining. Can you move to the next?
Okay, so this is accessories.
Yeah, we will see what is the next slide and we can move it.
Okay, this is the one.
Yes. Now, this is an optional accessories. Move to the next. Next slide. Sir.
This is the last one.
This is the last one.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an optional accessories. This is the LCD viewfinder. This is important one. 3D diagram data. Normally, the company won't give 3D diagram data. The reason the Sigma has given the 3D diagram data because we want it to be an open market for the people who makes accessories for it. Normally, when you go to the small rig, you can find a lot of attachment through which you can mount other equipments like if you want to have a microphone or if you want a monitor at the top. So these things can be done using the 3D diagram data. There is no restrictions for our camera. It's an open thing. Can you move to the next one?
That was the
The
last
last one, we can finish it. Yes.
I
So
have a,
we have certain question which we will
Yes,
come
yes,
back
yes,
to.
okay. Yes,
And,
yes.
and Harshit, you please share your screen. Was the
even I have a question for him.
Yes, sir.
I use a 14 Samniac Canon mount lens.
Okay. It's an EF mount.
Does your converter comes in the box, or we have to buy it from outside?
No, it doesn't come. We have to. It's an optional accessory, so we have to buy it separately.
Well, I have a converter from, I have a Sigma lens also. So I have a converter lens from that to, like, from Sony to Canon. Sorry, from Canon to Sony, Sigma converter.
That I think MC11. You must have a MC11 through which you can use EF lenses to Sony E mount. But when you want to use Canon lens to this Sigma FP camera L mount, you need to go for the MC21, which is an optional accessories. It has to be purchased separate.
But does that result in loss of data in terms of using that?
No. There won't be any loss of data. Only thing you need to check about the focus. Okay, because when you are going for a opening like 2.8 or 1.8, sometimes you may feel the focus is very slow.
I have a separate question that I will ask after the session to you.
Yes.
Yeah, anybody have any questions for me? I heard there were a lot of questions for filmmaking.
So I have many questions about video making.
Yeah.
So, but I'm compiling them together, and let me ask you one single question: like, if someone looking to make a career in videography, cinematography, like, first of all, very basic question: how to differentiate these words like videographer, cinematographer, or different terminologies which are being used. People get confused, like the photo editor. Like, if you could just walk through with a very basic understanding, assuming that everyone is new, that what is cinematographer, who is the shooter, what's the second shooter, and like that would really be great. It will answer a lot of questions.
So, frankly telling you, there are around 10 to 15 stages before you become a cinematographer. The reason why I'm telling you is that once you enter the industry, you are only allowed to touch the lenses. You have to carry them. That's the only work that you have. Then you grow and you become a focus puller. Right? So you are allowed to do only the focusing part of it. So then there are three major categories. One is a cameraman. Second is the production designer, or you say, first you are a cameraman. So what you do is, if I talk about two major categories, one is a cameraman, one is a cinematographer. Cameraman does not use his mind to shoot. He gets a brief on what kind of shot is needed, and he has to just shoot. He has to place the camera and take the shot. While cinematographer takes the call on the creative part of it. Right? The cinematographer can also, tell the director that this particular shot that you are saying will not look good as compared to this shot. So he also takes the kind of, because ultimate call is by the director itself, but cinematographer does not touches the camera. Ideally, he should not. But nowadays, cinematographers also do the camera. But ideally, cinematographer is somebody who visualizes and tells his camera people how to take the shot. That's the role of a cinematographer. While the camera person just takes the shot. So there again, there's something called exposure, guys. to only expose by means of exposing. It's a technical word. By means of exposing, I mean to say you just have to press the record button and press the record button. That's the only work you have. No creative decision when you are only a camera person.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Now the basic question comes like how to start a career in videography and what all the options do we have?
Okay. See, if you want to get into videography, start by exposing first. Try taking shots and try taking a lot of shots for yourself. For the reason is, once you start taking a lot of shots and you practice a lot. So even if right now we are under lockdown, we don't really have much of work. But what I do personally, I don't give my camera much of rest this year. So what I do is every day I am making around 30 to 40 second clip. For the reason is that I remain in that practice. So even if I'm going down for some work, for example, I have to buy some essentials, I try and take camera and just record what is happening because again, this is a golden time to record as much as you can. And you can practice inside your house itself. There are hundreds of things in your house that you can do. Like for example, if you want to develop a technique for handheld photography or handheld filmmaking, because a lot of people have started to depend themselves on the stabilizers. But if you want to really get a good hand posture and good hand stability, this is a time when you can practice in the house with your camera to practice handheld photography. This is the best time to take in-house shots. So you have to practice, practice, and practice, and practice, and practice. It's a lot of practice and hard work.
Thank you. Now I have some questions related to like starting a career. What all the things like the main points to consider before buying any gear, like especially in the video segment?
I am okay. If I have to talk about the video options in cameras, you can go for FP Sigma FP. I am not. I've seen their videos online, and I've seen some comparative videos online before the class. And what I've tried to figure out that's a nice camera. That can be a nice camera to use. But again, there are a lot of options which you have in the market. Now is the time to choose for mirrorless cameras. Don't go for a DSLR for video. Let me tell you very frankly. If you are going for a compact series. But if you want to go for a broadcast series cameras, right? Please go for high-end cameras, not very expensive, but you can go for professional video cameras. Because see, a camera which is meant for taking photographs can record videos, but not that quality which the professional video camera can record. So again, it depends on what type of videography are you planning to get into, whether it requires a lot of travel, so you need to have a compact camera, a smaller camera as compared to bigger broadcast cameras. So again, it depends on what kind of industry you are entering.
Okay. So we have a question from Victor Shoot that please tell the group names. So guys, we are going to share all these group name, whatever Harshit has mentioned. We'll compile the list and we'll share it with you. Second thing, yeah, you already shared some of them. Second, we are going to share you a recording of this video. So in case if you have missed any part, so no worries on that, because I can see that we had been touching 100 every time, like 100 people, and some of them have lost an opportunity to join because there is a limit of 100 people only. So they will get an opportunity. Suresh, there is a question for you. This is from Avik Datta asking, what option for Nikkor lenses do we have? for your camera? Is there any option?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Can Nikon lenses fit to your camera?
So they have a Nikon lens. They want to know whether they can able to use it with the Sigma FP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Very sorry to say that as of now we have come up only with the MC21, in which you can able to use the Canon lenses. We don't have an adapter for the Nikon F mount.
And one more question was, what is the cost of Sigma FP?
The cost of Sigma FP without the lens, that means the body alone, its list price is 1,99,000. But you will get a very good deal. You can check with our dealers in India. For the dealers list, you can visit our website sigmaindia.in. They can give a very competitive price. With the kit, with the 45mm lens, it costs you 2,30,000.
Sorry, yeah, Harshit, please go ahead.
I'm sorry, I had to raise hand. Sorry. This 45mm is what aperture size?
F2.8.
2.8.
Yes.
Harshit, we have multiple questions about post-processing. A lot of people are asking it's Lightroom versus Photoshop versus some free versions, and like the multiple questions. But the common, if you could answer, like as a beginner, what tool to be used for post-processing, whether to use it or not use it, and related to this is what format I should shoot, like JPEG versus a RAW file. So these two questions there.
Okay. I would suggest since I think since the beginning of 2020, Adobe has done everything online. So I really don't think that you can just download the software from any torrent site. I never recommend people to go for a torrent version for a software. It's a very nominal fee. I always suggest people to go for a original version and buy Adobe Photoshop. So there are two reasons between there's always a confusion between people whether to use Photoshop or whether to use Adobe Lightroom. For example, you have bulk editing to be done. I suggest you can go for Lightroom. But if you really want to get into in-depth creative editing, Photoshop is the best option that you have. I would suggest don't go for free softwares because at the end of the day, your quality matters. And if you are sending your images, let you know this because I faced this issue. I used a freeware software for some editing, and the client was also technically sound. So every time you use Photoshop, there is a signature. I think there is a signature which is attached to the metadata. And if your client is technically sound, he can figure out. So I would suggest for a professional approach, use Photoshop and Lightroom, depending on case to case. If you have bulk editing, yes, go for Lightroom. But if you really want to get into in-depth editing, like for example, when I have to edit an image, I hardly edit the image. But if I have to get into a creative edit image, I also use a pen tablet for editing because that gives you much more closer view of what you're editing.
So adding it to that, if you guys are looking to buy a Adobe software, they do give discounts to students. Look at online if you have email ID from your colleges or if you have an iCard. They do give discounts. So the second part of the question was JPEG versus RAW.
Again, if you are clicking your friends, family, and everybody, I think JPEG is okay. But if you are actually using for commercial purpose where money is involved, and you think that you might have problems getting the right exposure, shoot on RAW. And then only shoot on RAW. Don't shoot on JPEG and RAW. Because then again it adds to a lot of space and then it creates a problem.
For the post-processing, another question from Alok. Could we add watermark or not to add that? What's your opinion or what's your take on watermark?
See, it's been whose question it is, sir?
Alok.
Alok, just to tell you, it's been more than 15 years I've been in the industry. I prefer not to put my watermark because it just takes away the beauty of things. Because recently, when I am teaching with colleges, that's what I see, that students have not even picked the camera and they have a good fancy Facebook page and a fancy watermark. Nobody is stealing your image. Don't worry about that.
It's again personal preferences. So another question, we have a live question. We have two people online, one is Vikas Gautam and Avik Datta. Avik, please go ahead. You are unmuted right now. Avik Datta.
There is something round which is happening to his name.
Is this?
He's trying to.
Okay. Vikas, if you hear us, just ask your question.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Vikas. Get a little farther away from your laptop and your phone.
Yeah. You need to mute your laptop.
Yeah, you have to use one of those. Yeah, Vikas, go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, so I wanted to ask you that when it comes to drone videography,
Because there's something which is reverberating your. Are you logged in from two devices at one time for the same thing?
Yeah. What's your question about drone?
Yeah,
Just ask your question in one go.
sir, I wanted to ask when it comes to drone videography, as a beginner, which drone should I prefer and how should I start?
I will ask you one question before I answer your question. What is your budget? Because the drone.
I muted him, but you can answer like the beginner. It's as low as possible.
Sir, the beginner drone comes for a good beginner drone is Mavic Mini, which is 60,000 in the market, and it's the only drone which has been now permitted. So you can easily buy it. If you need the name of the vendors who are selling in Delhi, I can give you that. So, Mavic Mini is a good drone. It's an easy drone to learn, and it's a very nice drone, and good quality even in the night. With that drone.
How much you said it is?
$60,000.
How much?
It is around 60,000. That's what they quote. But when you actually go and buy, they can give you around 55.
Okay. And there is a related question, like this is from Preeti, that any editing software for videography?
For example, if you are a Windows user, I would prefer to tell you to go for Adobe Premiere Pro 2020. Go for 2020. It's a nice software because what Adobe has recently introduced is luminar packs inside the software itself, which really helps in quick color correction and everything. But if you're a Mac user, you can still go for Adobe Premiere because it's much more easier to learn that software. And you can go for FCP also. But Adobe Premiere is now being used in the industry, so I think that is it's a good software to use. I've been using Premiere all my life.
She's a Mac user, so we still prefer.
You can go for Adobe Premiere Pro. If you are starting to learn, go for Adobe Premiere Pro 2020. Go for 2020.
Okay. Another question is, can you suggest a good lens with less angular distortion or using the wide shot. I want to take portrait. This is from Karan Mehra.
Karan, I would suggest for portrait, you can go for 24 mm or you can go for a 35 mm lens. It's a good lens. Portrait is the best lens.
Guys, please raise your hand in case if you have a voice question. Please raise your hand. I will unmute you and we'll take it your voice question. The next question is, so everybody need a mentor. I also need a mentor to guide me. I'll be a good student. Do you think anybody can be my mentor? So this is the question we have.
So, for example, regarding guiding, I can help you with guidance with regards to your photography. So it's a two-way process. You send me the images or your video works whatsoever over the WhatsApp or over the email, and I can send you a feedback. But it has to be a regular chain of events. It should not be like that you send me one image or a video and then you forget. I've given a feedback and you forget. So I expect, even with my students, that's what I do. That if I give them a feedback, I expect a correction from them.
Okay, two-way communication. We have a very different question. This is from Ronak Mukherjee, and this is any tips for night photography, like star trails, or it's a night sky. Okay, yes, it's a star trail.
Yeah. So first thing first, use a very good tripod. A heavy tripod, you should invest when you're doing night photography, because night you obviously have to go for longer shutter speeds, and if your tripod is some local quality, you will end up your shot. And then you have to study a little bit of how the stars work. There are different apps which are available where you can study the position of the Milky Way, the position of how the stars are moving, which direction you are. It gives you a real-time reference in which you can check your particular location, and it helps you know where is the Milky Way passing, or which star formation is passing through your location. You have to keep a track using that software.
Okay, here is someone says that I am from Kolkata. I want to buy a Sigma lens, Sigma Art Series lens. So
Yes,
where
sir.
to buy? Suresh? Suresh, can you answer?
We have our office at Esplanade Metro Station, and we have the complete dealers in the camera market. So I can share my colleague's number with you. You can share with the contact person so that they can call in, and he will guide you with the dealer network info.
And please get some discount too.
Yeah, sure.
Me too.
Sure, sir.
I'll talk to you soon. Yeah.
Sure. I have another question regarding your video screenplay. When we should write inciting incident in a screenplay? This question is from Abdul Khartar.
When do you write a interesting piece?
INCITING, inciting incident in.
Your voice is cracking, Teji. Can I?
How to write a inciting? When we should write inciting incident?
In a screenplay.
Yeah.
Okay. So see, again, it depends on how you want to tell the story. So when we are working in the film industry, we keep one thing in mind, and that's a very tiny secret that I want to share it with you. Is that when you write a screenplay, you keep yourself as a kindergarten kid. Imagine yourself to be a kindergarten kid, and you always start your story as once upon a time there was a boy, or once upon a time there was something. So If you are able to make your story understandable to a kindergarten kid, your story is a success. Now, putting the inciting incident at a particular point, always try and start building for that inciting incident from somewhere around, for example, it's a 10-minute film. So try and keep it around 4.5 minutes where you start building the incident and take it till around 5.5 to 6 minutes where you actually tell what's the problem is. Your conflict is supposed to be in the middle of the film. Or your turn in the film is supposed to be in the middle of the film. Your conflict in the film can also be in the starting of the film. You can begin the film with the conflict also.
Okay, so I have a back to photography. I have questions like about the portfolio. Like the common question and what people want to know is how to get a portfolio. Like how to when approaching a client.
Okay.
What form we should represent our work? Like should we give the Instagram ID? Should we send a PDF file? Or should we share our website? Or what is the best practice for that?
So again, it depends on the type of client that you have. If it's a very corporate, formal kind of a client, have a website link with you. And if you, for example, you don't want to get a proper website right now because you're still exploring your possibilities in the line of photography, go for a Wix website. It's free of cost. You can host it. And you can host your website there for a period of time. And then once your things, because it's easy to make, otherwise you need to hire a person who will make a website for you. You can go for a Wix website, which is easily to make. And a website is always a much better storyteller for you as compared to Instagram IDs. But if your client is like that, for example, he or she is a blogger who is supposed to be your client, he or she would prefer to see your work on Instagram because for them the followers matters, not your work.
All right, agree with you. So, any voice question, guys? Please raise your hand. I see a couple of hands people have raised, but if you have any question, please go ahead and raise your hand. Next question is, hi Harshit, thanks for your initiative for the webinar. Very happy to be a part of the event. I'm a big fan of Anurag Kashyap. Can you share some of your unforgettable moments from Anurag Kashyap? And when I expect a big project from you, this is from Vishwatha. This is the question.
So Vishwanath, thank you so much for appreciating that. I can tell you a lot of stories about bags of Asapur when we were shooting. But my personal big project is on the table right now. There are two projects actually. One I'm working with Mukesh on one project. The other is my directorial debut. I have written a script right now, which is under the pre-production stage right now. It's going to be a nice story with good actors in it, and eventually my mentor, who is guiding me on that film because I still have to learn a lot of. But if we talk about stories from back, there are hundreds of them. One, if I can tell you, one of the stories from working with him was he's actually very particular when it comes to work and fun. So you can have fun at work, but once the camera starts to roll, you have to be on your toes. Even if you are fat, it doesn't matter to him. He will make you work like anything, and it's fun. It was fun working for day in and day and out. I remember I did not sleep for 7 days. It was like you just take a half an hour, 1 hour break between the shots. So you have to be a lot of, it has to be a lot of junoon in you for that work, kind of work that he does.
We have one voice question. Ditto, if you could unmute yourself and ask your question, if you can hear us.
Hi, Ditto.
Another common question which we got is for the video stabilization, like using the gimbal, or what's your take on that, using the gimbal, and what all the tools and techniques and tricks, if you could share in post or during the shoot?
Okay. During the shoot, I have recently started to use a Crane 3. But before that, I used to prefer taking the shots using my hand. So there are a few exercises that I used to do. I don't smoke and drink, so but people who smoke have this problem. I think, can we talk on these things? It's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So people who smoke have this problem of their hands shaking. So I had this problem, but I never smoked in my life. But I had this problem that my left hand used to shake a lot. So I started to do this exercise wherein, for example, you take a small brick, a kind of half brick, dip it in the water, and then you use these two fingers, your thumb and your middle finger, to hold it. So at the end of the day, what you have to do is you have to make this part strong. So if this part becomes strong, it's easier for you to take a 5-second shot handheld. I have done that myself, but it requires, again, a lot of hand exercises. Like, you keep moving your hand a lot, and you have to stretch your hand a lot. But if you want to use a good stabilizer, Crane 3 is a good option. Ronin SC for mirrorless camera is a good option. And then if you want to go on a little lighter note, Xenon Weebly is a good option. I have one right now. The Xenon Weebly is also a good option. Weebly is a good option. For starters, it's a very good option. It's a very stable gimbal.
We have next question. Thanks. We have a next question from Sumit. Sumit, please go ahead. You are unmuted. Dito, you are also unmuted, in case if you can do it now.
Sumit, Dito is still mute.
Anyone, please raise your hand. Anyone has any question? We have last few minutes. Although we have a lot of questions, some of them are already answered. Sorry guys, like, we could not accommodate more people because it was all full.
Network problem, I guess.
So we'll take few questions.
Yeah. I'm open to it, please.
What is your favorite photography? Nature, street, journalism, or you do whatever you get paid for? Sumit Gulati.
If I have to choose between nature, street, and journalism, I think I would prefer street photography more, because that lets me interact with the society I am shooting with. But when it comes to commercial photography, I am an industrial photographer and a B2B photographer and a filmmaker, B2B filmmaker, where I make B2B films for the industry. So industries are my first love, if I can say.
We have another question, like, is there any market for creative or wildlife photographer, or what is for the own satisfaction, improving the skills only, or is it no commercial value for wildlife?
Oh, there is a huge commercial value for wildlife. For example, you should keep an eye on a lot of competitions that keep coming up from lens culture. There's an organization called Lens Culture, and there's an organization called World Photography Organization. Then there's a organization called National Geographic and Discovery. They keep hosting a lot of photography competitions, and if your work gets published, you are in the market and you can earn a lot of money. You can sell your photographs to magazines, but for that you have to send your images. Keep sending your images. Don't wait. Don't think that you send one image and you will get a result immediately. No, it doesn't happen that way. You send 100 images, you will get a reply for one. So you have to be you have to be very much patient about what and how you approach the client.
And probably this is the last question. It's not complete though, but how to perfectly choose our shutter speed and ISO according to surrounding. This is from Avinash Balaji.
Okay. Avinash, that's a very, very good question. See, for example, you have to keep a ballpark figure in your mind that no matter heaven falls, no matter what happens, you will not push your ISO above 400. That is your ballpark figure, right? You will always shoot in a manual setting. Now, how to work on the shutter speed and ISO? There is something called PTL, or the bar that is there. So it has +3, -3, and 0 in the center. Try and control your exposure to get a perfect exposure somewhere in the center. Now I think that in one of my workshops with the Chiiz also I said, how do you actually see that your exposure is good? Right. So there's a trick to it. Imagine there are two types of light settings. One is Ram Gopal Verma light setting, the other is Karan Johar light setting. I hope everybody by now has got this idea what I'm talking about. So for example, you want your image to be very brightened up, right? Start moving towards +3. You want shadows in the image or little darker images, go towards minus. So you have to keep in mind when you put your eye through that viewfinder, always remember, use only the viewfinder when you are clicking. Don't use the screen that is provided, because at times it doesn't give you the right type of exposure setting, and then you end up messing up with the light. So always use the viewfinder. When you are using a viewfinder, in the modern cameras, that bar that I'm talking about is present. You should always look through that also as to where your exposure is moving around. So, for example, you want a little bit of a gaudy kind of image, go one or two stops above towards +3, and if you want a little bit of shadows in the image, go towards 2 stops down towards your minus side.
Okay. Thank you guys. This is the last opportunity. If you have any question, anything which is not covered, you can raise your hand. So we have message from Vanita. Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks, Vanita. You're welcome. And Mohammad Zubair says that he has sent one question. Zubair, if you could ask us the question, probably we can take that as a last question. We might have missed because there's so many questions were coming up. I can add you to the chat. I can unmute you. Okay, Mohammad Zubair is there. Zubair, I have unmuted you. Please go ahead. Zubair, please go ahead. You are on unmute. Zubair, we would be able to hear you, please. Sorry, we missed your ask now. Yeah, Zubair, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah,
We can
Zubair.
Any Facebook groups for projects in Bangalore? Like Chiizdotcom is based in Delhi mostly.
So I have shared a lot of links with Mukeshji's team. I think they will be sending you across. So there are around 10-15 groups that I have shared, and it is applicable pan India. So you'll get the link. Don't worry.
So we are going to send you a recording, a link for the recording, a link for the groups, and a certificate of participation. Expect it will be coming to you by tomorrow. Depends on when the team is able to send it. Zubair, any other question?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Harshit, I guess we are done. We don't have any question. We are getting some thank you messages. Really appreciated. There is a message for Hi Sigma. Thanks for your answer. I wish the presentation can be more clear as there's a sound issue. Yeah, I guess wherever this is from Karan Mehra. So this is wherever we are stuck, we are managing because of the situation. We don't want to talk about that topic because you already are overloaded with that information. So, but in this situation, whatever the best we could do, we have tried our best. Guys, thank you, Harshit. Thanks a lot.
I
And
wanted
stay tuned. Yeah.
camera. So can we talk offline? I think.
Go ahead, please.
No, I'm asking. I want to ask Suresh if you can help me with getting a hands-on experience with the camera. How can I get that? I want to review.
You want to have a touch and feel of the Sigma FT.
Yes.
Yeah, I can arrange it, sir. I can arrange it.
So, okay.
So once the situation comes to normal, I think you can have my number with sir. So you can take down my number, you can call me, or you can give a WhatsApp message. Once the situation comes to normal, I will ask my colleague to come and hand over the camera to you.
Oh,
sure.
Okay. So for you can try it out and give your feedback.
I'm planning to upgrade my kit, so that's why I'm asking.
Sure,
And
sure. We will support it.
there is one more update which guys, Harshit is taking care one project, a video project. Harshit would be directing and creating a movie out of the clips which we get it. So Harshit, why don't you go and give a little idea about that, and whoever are interested can participate in that.
Yeah, so that's a very interesting project that I have started, and eventually Chiiz is supporting me in that. So this particular project talks about what situation we are in right now, and it's going to be a big film, and it's going to be India's first film which is crowdsourced. So as a filmmaker, I am not shooting anything in that film. It is the public that is shooting for us. And what we have to do is, we all are in our quarantine period, and we are doing something or the other. So what you have to simply do is pick your phone, pick your camera, record that for me, send it across. We'll share the email IDs and the links to how to share it. And you can simply send, and you will be featured in the film. A due credit will be given to you for that, because it's going to be India's first crowd-sourced film. There's no monetary things involved in this. So it's going to be fun, because let's see how India thinks about lockdown. That's the motive behind making that film.
So you guys will get a detailed link to share or upload your work. But keep shooting. This is a video project. Keep shooting. Keep making some content, and if that content, once it comes to Harshit, will be shortlisted and will be created a story out of that whenever we are out from this.
The beauty of this project is that there is no real story to it. We will create the story from the content that we get from you?
Yeah, so there is no story. And anyone who wants to be volunteer for this, want to be an active part, there is no monetary exchange in this. But if you want to be a cinematographer, if you want to help us on any part, please do get in touch on the email which you got it, and we will take things forward from there. Thanks, Harshit. Thank you very much
Yeah.
for your time.
Thank you,
Suresh,
sir. Thank you so much, Harshit sir, for giving me this great opportunity and for the entire Chiiz magazine team.
yeah, anything from you, Suresh? Anything else you would like to add?
Uh, uh, what I can say, Sir has told everything from bottom to top. Just follow the rules. Just follow the teachers. Okay, whatever they say, please consider, take it in your mind, and try to work out something better than what you have already. Raise your platforms.
Sure.
Yeah.
And thank you, Suresh. This show was possible because of the Sigma's support. And guys, do help us, like following Sigma pages, as well as if you are planning to buy any product, get in touch with Suresh. We will share the contact details of Suresh, or if you are in different city, we will share those details too.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Mukeshji. Thank you, Suresh. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mukesh sir. Thank you,
Thank
Harshit sir.
you.
Hope to see you soon with our
Yeah.
Sigma FP camera.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Thank you,
you, sir.
everybody, for joining in.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Stay safe. Everybody stay healthy. That's the best thing to do right now.
Yeah, better to stay home and be healthy, be with your family.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye, Mukeshji. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Mukesh sir.